Is it possible that the Rohingya are original inhabitants of Arakan state, and what is needed to ensure that these people do not disappear from the world map? Question 1. How many major religions are there in the world? The world's major religions are generally defined as those with the largest number of adherents. The following 5 are typically cited as the major religions. Christianity, approximately 2.4 billion adherents. Islam, approximately 1.9 billion adherents. Hinduism, approximately 1.2 billion adherents. Buddhism, approximately 500 million adherents. Chinese traditional religions, a blend of Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism, approximately 400 million adherents. In addition, traditional religions of Africa, the Americas, Sikhism, Judaism, Jainism, Shinto, etc., are also important, but in terms of the number of adherents, the above 5 are the largest. Question 2. Which religion came first in the world? This question goes back to prehistoric times. The earliest forms of worship were ancient traditional animistic religions, which worshipped nature, sun, moon, fire, water, animals, and spirits. However, according to scientifically documented literary history, Hinduism can be considered one of the world's earliest major systems of worship. Its earliest form, Vedism, existed as early as 1500 BC, as described in ancient Indian scriptures known as the Vedas. Therefore, it can be answered in 2 ways. Earliest form of worship, traditional or animistic religions. Earliest major religion is Hinduism, Vedism. Question 3. Which religion was most widely practiced before the emergence of Islam? Islam began in the 7th century AD. Prior to that time, especially in the late 6th century AD, the most widely practiced religion in the world was Christianity. At that time, Christianity was flourishing as the official religion of the Roman Empire and was spreading throughout Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East. Other important religions included Zoroastrianism, the official religion of the Persian Empire, Hinduism in the Indian region, and Buddhism in parts of East Asia and Central Asia. Question 4. Which language-speaking people were the most numerous in the Arakan kingdom before the emergence of Islam? Is it Indo-Aryan or Tibeto-Burman? Arakan refers to present-day Rakhine state in Myanmar. Before the advent of Islam, the Arakan region was a center of Buddhism, and there were kingdoms with capitals such as Danyawadi and Waithali. Therefore, the original local people of that region are the Arakanese people. The Arakanese language is of the Indo-Aryan family and is derived from a different language family than the Burmese language, Tibeto-Burman. Answer: if asked whether it is Indo-Aryan or Tibeto-Burman, the answer is the Arakanese people who speak the Arakanese language of the Indo-Aryan family. Question 5. Which religion had the most followers in Arakan before the emergence of Islam? And what language did they speak the most? As answered above, before the emergence of Islam, Buddhism was the most widely practiced religion in Arakan. The Arakan region was located on the route of the spread of Buddhism from India, and archaeological evidence shows that Buddhism flourished throughout its history. Their language was also the Arakanese language, Indo-Aryan family. Answer: religion, Buddhism. Language spoken, Arakanese language, Indo-Aryan family. Explain in detail about the Rohingya. The Rohingya people of Myanmar represent one of the most marginalized and persecuted communities in the modern world. Their plight stems from a deliberate and systematic denial of their identity and citizenship by the Myanmar state, despite historical evidence affirming their deep roots in the Rakhine region, historically known as Arakan. Pre-colonial European records, such as those by Francis Buchanan, 1799, and Charles Peyton, 1824, explicitly identified a distinct Muslim community, the Rohingya or Arakanese Musulman, as native to Arakan. Earlier accounts, like those of the 17th century Portuguese friar Sebastião Manrique, describe Muslim officials and settlers integrated into the Arakan Kingdom's society centuries before British colonialism. Linguistic studies further confirm that the Rohingya language is part of the Indo-Aryan family, aligning with the linguistic history of ancient Arakanese civilizations. This indigenous status was initially acknowledged in the early years of Burmese independence. Rohingya representatives served in parliament, and the state-established Mayu Frontier Administration and Rohingya language broadcasts recognized their place in the Union. However, this recognition was violently revoked after the 1962 military coup. The state enacted the 1982 citizenship law, which strategically excluded the Rohingya from citizenship based on a fabricated narrative of foreignness. The Naga Min Operation, 1978, and PYI Thayer Operation, 1991-92, were military operations systematically targeting the Rohingya population in northern Rakhine State, aiming to strip them of citizenship. The Naga Min operation caused over 200,000 people to flee to Bangladesh, and the PYI Thayer operation resulted in approximately 250,000 more fleeing. These events are a precursor to the 2017 genocide. Under the NLD, National League for Democracy, government of Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi, the 2017 operation, under the guise of clearance operations, forcibly displaced over 700,000 Rohingya to Bangladesh. With the coup and the Spring Revolution, the Arakan Army, AA, forced more than 150,000 Rohingya into Bangladesh in 2024. Therefore, the Rohingya crisis is not a simple ethnic conflict, but a result of state-sponsored policies aimed at their exclusion and eradication. International investigations, including those by the United Nations, have found evidence of genocidal intent. Today, the Rohingya remain one of the world's largest stateless populations, trapped in refugee camps or under apartheid-like conditions in Myanmar, their historical identity continuously denied by the very state they call home. What do you think needs to be done for the Rohingya to be able to return to their homeland? I think the following conditions need to be met for the Rohingya to be able to return to their homeland: security and stability. It is important for the Rohingya to have a safe and secure environment when they return home. Repatriation is only meaningful if they can live peacefully without violence or harassment. Therefore, it is necessary to ensure the rule of law in Rakhine State. Guarantee of citizenship rights. It is necessary to recognize the Rohingya as citizens and grant them full citizenship rights. Only when the Rohingya have equal access to freedom of movement, education, employment, and other social rights can they live with dignity. Reconstruction of homes and rehabilitation of basic infrastructure. It is necessary to rebuild homes destroyed by conflict. In addition, it is necessary to rehabilitate basic infrastructure such as transportation, hospitals, schools, water supply systems, and electricity. Justice and accountability. It is necessary to establish justice for human rights violations committed against the Rohingya. Holding perpetrators accountable and punishing them will prevent such atrocities from happening again. Reconciliation with local people. It is necessary to build trust and promote reconciliation between the Rohingya and the Rakhine Ma people. Only when both sides can live together with understanding can sustainable peace be built in Arakan State. International support. International community support is also important for the Rohingya to return home. Financial assistance, technical assistance, and political pressure can encourage the Burmese government to make positive decisions for the Rohingya. These are all the main points I have considered for the Rohingya to be able to return to their homeland. I believe that only by implementing these points can a sustainable future be created for the Rohingya. If that doesn't happen, do they have the right to self-defense? Self-defense means using the necessary force to protect oneself or another person from harm. In order to have the right to self-defense under the law, the following conditions must be met. Danger must be imminent. The right to self-defense exists only when the person posing the danger is about to inflict harm immediately. The amount of force used must be appropriate. Only force equal to the force used to inflict harm can be retaliated with. For example, if someone punches you, you can punch back. If they shoot at you, you can shoot back. However, if someone punches you and you stab them with a knife, that is no longer self-defense. There must be no other options. Self-defense should be used as a last resort only when there are no other ways to escape the danger. For example, if you can run away from danger, it is better to run away. Therefore, when the Rohingya use force to protect themselves, they need to carefully consider the above points and act in accordance with the law. In addition, it should be noted that self-defense is not a solution to the problem and can lead to further negative consequences. The best option is to strive for justice in accordance with international law through peaceful means, which is a more sustainable solution. Rohingya Language and Cultural Research Institute.